I'll never forget the first time I was asked to care for a dying infant in the neonatal intensive care unit, or NICU. I can't tell you his name, but let's call him Max. I'd been working as a nurse for about 1.5 years, and I had never received any education in how to support families as they navigate child loss. Still, I was responsible to care for Max and his family through the end of his life. How you care for a family as they lose their child matters. Most babies who die in the NICU will never leave the hospital, making the NICU the only home they'll ever know. If you get it right, you can make space for families to make memories, to talk about what their baby's life means, and to simply enjoy the gift of a newborn, even one with a short life. If you get it wrong, you can tar the only memories that parents will ever have with their child. Research shows us that very few nurses who work in the NICU receive education in end-of-life care. Regardless of the education that nurses do or don't receive, they still show up to work and skillfully care for dying infants and their families. No research has yet evaluated how nurses gain these skills. My thesis will aim to identify how NICU nurses learn to provide end-of-life care. Since there's currently no systematic way of teaching this essential skill, there's concern that nurses are learning on a hit-or-miss basis. I know that was my experience. If nurses are learning inconsistently, families cared for by early career nurses might receive care that is lacking. There is no do-over for these families. Their baby has died, and their nurse was unprepared to care for them as they experienced this terrible loss. In order to understand how NICU nurses learn to provide end-of-life care, I'll conduct a study using a sample of nurses with experience caring for infants at the end of life. Information will be collected from focus groups and interviews. My study has 2 aims. Firstly, to understand how NICU nurses learn to provide end-of-life care, and secondly, to understand what types of education nurses want and need in order to provide the highest quality care. When I took care of Max, I had no idea what to do. I did my best to be supportive. I made hospital glove balloons for his 3-year-old brother. I panic ordered a pizza for his family off of Uber Eats, and I did what I could to help his family make memories. I worked hard to be the best nurse I could be for Max and his family, but I know that with preparation, I would have served them better. My research will lay the groundwork for future work developing an educational curriculum on end-of-life care for NICU nurses. I hope that my research will allow for fewer nurses to find themselves with a grieving mother in their arms, having no idea what to say. Thank you.